What's up, guys? Myself, Fredo Cervantes here. It is Tuesday, June the 6th, and guess what? It is Taco Tuesday. Let's go. These are the breaks. You know what it is. Yes. These are the breaks with myself, Fredo Cervantes, live from Los Angeles here at the Infinity Studio, saying, ladies and gentlemen, LeBron James is leaving Los Angeles. Yes, that's according to Kyrie Irving, because accordingly to him, he decided to be like, hey, look, I'm reaching out to LeBron James. I'm communicating with him, trying to bring him to Dallas. Do you actually believe that? Kyrie, you believe that Kyrie Irving texted LeBron James and be like, hey, come to Dallas, team up with me and Luka. Do you really think LeBron James wants to go to Dallas? I mean, let alone how devastating your team was last season, how you guys went down to the wire and lost, got not even into the play-in. Defeated, plain and simple. Couldn't even get into the play-in. You think LeBron James wants to go out there after making it to the Western Conference Finals? Hell no. Doesn't want to go out there. And that was reported from Shams Charania from The Athletic yesterday, saying that Kyrie Irving has talked to LeBron James in recent days in regarding possibly coming to Dallas, which LeBron's camp is, of course, denying that there is no communication from LeBron or any interest that he wants to go to Dallas. So what does that mean? Is Kyrie Irving coming to Los Angeles instead? Is that maybe a Kyrie trick trying to be like, hey, LeBron, come to Dallas, and for maybe LeBron to reply and be like, no, you come to LA. And maybe Kyrie's going to be like, okay, I'll come to LA. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's not going to be LeBron James' decision. And this is where I'm going to get to, because it seems like, you know, entering his 21st year for LeBron James, I don't think he has the same amount of power that he had maybe in year 16th or 17th when he entered the Lakers. Yes, Rob Pelinka made a mistake, which now we can kind of call it a mistake, bringing in Russell Westbrook 2 years ago, and the reports point at LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Those two were the guys that went up to Rob Pelinka and say, hey, pull the trigger on Russell Westbrook. They wanted Russell Westbrook here in Los Angeles. Then they wanted Russell Westbrook out of Los Angeles. So LeBron James made a very, very big mistake, because that mistake right there cost the Lakers 2 years, 2 crucial years. Just imagine if they didn't pull the trigger on Russell Westbrook, they would have pulled the trigger on DeMar DeRozan. So imagine DeMar DeRozan, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. DeMar DeRozan is a whole different type of player. That's a man that sometimes would really fit with Anthony Davis and LeBron James, because sometimes Anthony Davis, he disappears on offense. LeBron James, his legs are tired. He's settling for threes. DeMar DeRozan does never settle for threes. He settles for twos. He's one of the best mid-range shooters in the NBA. So that would have been a much better fit if LeBron James and Anthony Davis never went up to Rob Pelinka and said, hey, get us Russell Westbrook. So now, in year 21, Rob Pelinka, please don't listen to LeBron James and be like, hey, let's get Kyrie Irving, because if you get Kyrie Irving, hey, great player, one of the great ball handlers in the history of the NBA, but he is not going to make a difference to this team. What that's going to mean is like, hey, you might not be able to afford Austin Reeves. You might not be able to bring Rui Hachimura back. Or what about Vanderbilt and Malik Beasley, some of these other guys that were pretty much effective over the second part of the season for the Lakers, and the main reason the Lakers were in the Western Conference Finals. And let's not forget about D'Angelo Russell as well. So Kyrie Irving will come in a very huge cost price for the Lakers in order for them to get him. So I don't think that might be the best bet. So Rob Pelinka, please do not listen to LeBron James in year 21. You should be listening and watching Nikola Jokic right now, because the Denver Nuggets right now, they let one get away. For the people that were watching on Sunday night, Game 2 of the NBA Finals, it is currently tied at 1 apiece, with Game 3 taking place tomorrow night, Wednesday, in Miami. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because Miami's not an easy place to go in there and try to get a victory. It's not that easy. Not a lot of teams were able to do it during the playoffs, but Denver needs to go ahead and, yes, they got to continue being aggressive with Nikola Jokic, because when you look in game one, what Denver did correctly, I mean, everyone were hitting shots. Everyone were hitting their three-pointers, and that just kind of opened up the space for Nikola Jokic to be a scorer and a facilitator. So he was able to kind of do both things. In game two, Miami switched it all up. They made sure they cover everybody else and let Nikola Jokic go be a one-man team. He scored 42 points in game two, 3 assists in game two. That is not the Nikola Jokic that is the MVP type of player and the Nikola Jokic that swept the Lakers. So Michael Malone did make a crucial mistake. And I mean, I talk about this all the time, and I talked about it the other day when I was at the LA Sparks game. When you are a coach, you are given timeouts for a reason. Mike Malone and the Denver Nuggets grabbed the rebound with 11 seconds remaining in game two at home, up 1-0 in the series, down 3, and you let your team, without taking a timeout, setting up a nice play from out of bounds to try to tie the game. Mike Malone said, no, I'm not going to call it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to let him go out there. And what happened? Jamal Murray took an off-balance fadeaway three, that hit from the back of the rim. Lost the game. That's not coaching material right there. And that's a great example because people know the great coach, George Karl. George Karl, who coached the Denver Nuggets, coached a lot of great teams back in the days, one of the greatest coaches of all time. He tweeted right after the game. He's like, if I was Mike Malone, which, of course, George Karl did coach the Denver Nuggets about 10, 15 years ago, he said, if I was Mike Malone, I would have called a timeout right there. I would have set up a play for whether Jamal, Michael Porter, or maybe KCP, who's, a pretty clutch three-point shooter at times. You can set up a play and try to take a 2-0 series lead heading into Miami. You had 2 timeouts, Mike Malone, with 11 seconds left in game 2 of the NBA Finals, and you just, hey, nope, not going to call a timeout. Let my guys go out there. Let Jamal Murray shoot an off-balance 3 and lose the game. Now you're tied 1-1 in peace, heading to Miami for 2 games. I won't be surprised. Catch me here saying this. I won't be surprised if Miami comes back to game 5 in Miami up 3-1. I won't be surprised. Jimmy Butler in Miami, Bam Adebayo in Miami, that crowd in Miami is just wild. It's wild. So what am I telling you here? You want to make some money, guys? Do you guys really want to make some money? Put some money down on the Miami Heat in game 3. That's where you got to go. That's where the money is right now. So you can thank me later, all right? So make sure you take Miami. But another team that I'm going to talk about, we're going to go into a quick commercial break. But a team that I'm going to talk about is a team that has a lot of explanation to do, all right? A lot. We'll be back here on These Are the Breaks.
United One Protection Services. With over 30 years of experience, United One Protection Services has more expertise and knowledge than the other security companies combined. Residential, commercial, municipal, or institutional, United One Protection Services does more than just security. We protect your livelihood. United One Protection Services.
Profanity Nation. A podcast for the fans, by the fans. Dive deep into the topics the other shows miss, raw and uncensored.
And he's going to play team ball. His legacy is at stake.
Rare, hard-hitting interviews with players, coaches, and you, the super fans.
I'm not hating. I'm like, okay, cool. Good.
3 championships in 5 years. He's more than good, bro.
Profanity Nation. Listen live or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Powered by Jesse Brown of Keller Williams.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, these are the breaks here live from Los Angeles at the Infinity Studios. Myself, Fredo Cervantes, and it is Tuesday, June the 6th. What does that mean? It's been about 9 days. 9 days since one of the biggest disappointments in the NBA had happened, which, I have not talked about this on the show since it happened. The Boston Celtics lost in Game 7 at home. Okay, so but before I get to Game 7, I want to talk about Game 4 and Game 5 and Game 6. A team that showed heart and they fought through one of the biggest, most, disappointing series they've ever seen, because they never thought that they would be down 3-0 to the Miami Heat. They never thought that. And it was funny at times, because I'm pretty sure the whole world was laughing and be like, wow, are the Celtics really down 3-0? They were the favorites all year long till the end of the second round. They were favorites all year long. Vegas called them out, said the Boston Celtics are a minus 150 to win the NBA Finals. And, it was kind of disappointing to see that a team that has those type of players, that type of chemistry that's been together for quite some time now, to go up and down 3-0, then win 3 games, and then they have the deciding game, Game 7, at home. You can put the blame on a lot of things, but of course, we can never predict injuries. We can never predict in-game injuries, because Game 7 started, 13 seconds go off the clock. 13 seconds go off the clock. And what happens? Jason Tatum twists his ankle. He's now a crippled man walking down the court for 43 minutes. I understand he gave his heart and played 43 minutes after twisting his ankle. But when you only attempt 8 shots through 3 quarters, 11 throughout the whole game, score 14 points in a Game 7, yeah, you grabbed 11 rebounds. It's not what you are in need for. No Celtic player in Game 7 scored over 18 points. No Celtic player. The highest player was Jaylen Brown. Right behind him was Al Horford and Jason Tatum. Marcus Smart played a terrific defensive game as well. The Celtics still dropped the game by 19 points. Very, very, very upsetting for, the Boston Globe. But it at least showed that a team like that was destined to maybe make it to the NBA Finals and let alone win an NBA champion, they showed heart. They showed that they cared. They have a coach that made adjustments through Game 4, 5, and 6. And maybe just forgot to coach Game 7. But, when a lot of people want to compare, well, look, both teams, the Lakers and the Celtics, they were both down 0-3. What did the Lakers do? What did Darvin Ham do? Just got out-coached by Mike Malone. Got out-coached. They got swept. They didn't show no heart. LeBron James was tired. Anthony Davis was nowhere to be found. So there is a difference between those two teams. And there is a difference between the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat. Miami has heart. Denver has talent. Miami has a coach. Then it's been there and done it. Denver has a coach that made a big mistake that this will go down because, like I said earlier, Miami might be up 3-1 at the end of Game 4. So Mike Malone, after winning Game 1, he thought he maybe had this in the bag. But it comes down to crucial decision-making, and that's what ended up happening to the Boston Celtics. And yes, I was wrong. I predicted the Boston Celtics to make it to the NBA Finals and win it all this year. But like I said, injuries happen in the middle of the game because, I want to put some blame on that, but let's say that Jason Tatum never twisted his ankle as bad as he did in the first 13 seconds of the game. In the first 13 seconds of the game, let's say that did not happen. Boston could have maybe won this game. They maybe could have won it right at the buzzer. Who knows? He maybe would have faded away jump shot and bang, game over. Boston advances to the finals, but that was not the case. Even though Miami did, like I said, Miami has heart. They have a great coach. They won plain and simple. You got to give Miami credit where credit is due. That's why I'm giving Miami some credit to go up 3-1 in the series, winning the first 2 games in Miami. All right, but that was a very disappointing season for the Boston Celtics. But like I mentioned, what can they do next? Whether they're going to trade Jaylen Brown, I don't think they're going to trade Jason Tatum. They're going to keep the coach. That's what Brandon Stevens said. They will keep Joe Mazzulla for the maybe next 2 years. He does have a 2-year contract left. But I think the best thing, and I said this a few weeks ago, and I know maybe LA and Boston don't want to do a trade, but if the Lakers can find a way to get Jaylen Brown for Anthony Davis, that is going to be a career franchise-saving move for both. For Jaylen Brown to save his career, and this is a franchise move for the Lakers that can really hold on to a 23-year-old great forward / guard who can kind of do it all at any given night when given the opportunity. He is a little bit of a ball hog, but hey, what did this man do right here when he was a Laker? A lot of people say he didn't like to pass the ball, but hey, what did he do with the ball? He scored the ball. Hey, he didn't have the teammates to pass it to at the times, but he had Smush Parker, Sasha Vujacic, Luke Walton, Brian Cook. Hey, Brian Cook was a good 3-point shooter, by the way. And let's not forget about Chris Mim, man, because I saw a highlight the other day. And Chris Mim, I was like, man, I remember Chris Mim. Oh, man, he's a big dude. Big dude. But, yep, Jaylen Brown for Anthony Davis. You like it? Let me know in the comments below. Hit me up on Instagram and Twitter at Fredo Cervantes, because I definitely love that trade. And I definitely don't want to invest in Anthony Davis again and maybe playing 45 to 50 games. Because, AD, if you know, there's 82 games that you're getting paid for the regular season and playoffs games. I'm not going to depend on a guy that can only give me 40-some games this season. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to depend on a guy like Jaylen Brown who can give me 81 games this season, 25 points per game, 10 rebounds a game, 5 assists per game. That's a man I want. But we will return here on These Are the Breaks. I'm going to talk a little bit about one of the biggest weekend series we've had in baseball here in Los Angeles. I'll talk a little bit about that when we return here on These Are the Breaks.
Profanity Nation. A podcast for the fans, by the fans. Dive deep into the topics the other shows miss. Raw and uncensored.
And he's going to play team ball. His legacy is at stake.
Rare, hard-hitting interviews with players, coaches, and you, the super fans.
I'm not hating. I'm like, okay, cool. Good.
3 championships in 5 years. He's more than good, bro.
Profanity Nation. Listen live or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Powered by Jesse Brown of Keller Williams.
United One Protection Services. With over 30 years of experience, United One Protection Services has more expertise and knowledge than the other security companies combined. Residential, commercial, municipal, or institutional, United One Protection Services does more than just security. We protect your livelihood. United One Protection Services.
Yes, that's right, guys. These are the breaks with myself, Fredo Cervantes. And, I mentioned, this weekend, we had one of the biggest baseball series we've had in quite some time because the New York Yankees were in town. Yep. Aaron Judge and those guys were in town this past weekend. And they came down to Los Angeles and took 2 games out of 3 from LA. And it's very disappointing in what the Dodgers have done with Dave Roberts as a manager for 8 years. 8 years. Let me put some things in perspective for you guys. In 8-year span, they were favorites to win the World Series 8 years. Let me give you another stat. In 8 years, the Dodgers made it to 4 World Series. In 8 years, the Dodgers made it to 8 playoffs. In 7 years, Dave Roberts made dumb decisions, which that means they failed 7 out of 8. When it comes to decision making, and I talk about this every single time, Dave Roberts always makes the dumbest decisions at the biggest moments. On Friday, the Dodgers took game 1 behind Clayton Kershaw, who was just amazing. Kershaw is always going to give you 7 innings, hold down an offense to maybe 2 runs or so. And that's exactly what he did against the New York Yankees, winning 7-2 on Friday night. Then here comes game 2 on Saturday on Fox, primetime, 4 o'clock. And Garrett Cole was pitching for the New York Yankees. Garrett Cole's currently 7-0 right now pitching in this year. So when you're looking and facing guy like Garrett Cole, who's, future Hall of Famer, 2-time All-Star, young pitcher, can throw some heat. Garrett Cole just took down the Dodgers. There was no way the Dodgers were going to win game 2 on Saturday night. There's no way. So you were already looking forward for Sunday's matchup, which is Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. And the Dodgers put their youngest pitcher on the mound, which is the best pitcher they have right now. I'm talking about Bobby Miller. This man right now, I'm gonna say it 10 times. Bobby Miller, Bobby Miller, Bobby Miller, Bobby Miller, Bobby Miller, Bobby Miller, Bobby Miller. That is a man who's going to take over the rotation for the Dodgers for the next 10 years. He's too young. He's too effective on the mound. I have not seen, I've seen Dodger baseball all my life. I grew up a big Dodger fan. I don't believe I've missed many Dodger games in my life. I have not seen a pitcher like him. I've seen great pitchers. I've seen the Clayton Kershaw in 2008. I've seen guys like Jared Weaver that we had, Jeff Weaver back in the days, and we had some very good Odalis Perez, Kevin Brown. We've had good pitchers. But a guy like this who's coming in young, his rookie year, 3-0 right now, he was in the 7th inning, Sunday night, primetime, one of the biggest stages, holding down the New York Yankees to 0 runs. 0 runs. 1 hit all game long, throwing only 86 pitches, which is nothing. 86 pitches is still pretty, you're almost towards the end, but in the 7th inning, when you're having the New York Yankees they can't hit a lick. They can't do nothing. What does Dave Roberts do? You have a 1-run lead, 1-0. Dave Roberts like, you know what? I've had enough of Bobby Miller. Let's bring in this guy over here. And they bring in another pitcher and gives up 3 runs right away. It's like, come on, Dave. If you have the right arm throwing the ball, the Yankees are just not making any contact at all. Ride the pitcher for 2 more innings, 20 more pitches, game over. You win the series. Big time series. But he goes to the pitcher from the bullpen, comes in, gives up 3 runs, game over. Dodgers lose. Yankees win back-to-back games here in Los Angeles. And crucial mistakes like that will cost the season. Because what happened last season? The Dodgers lost home field advantage by 1 game. This 1 game right here can cost you the whole season. That's exactly what happened last season. They didn't have home field, and what happened? The deciding game was in San Diego, and San Diego kicked their ass. So if that deciding game was in Los Angeles, LA could have maybe won a championship last year. But no, Dave Roberts wants to make crucial mistakes and certain decisions and take out your best pitcher that the organization has had in almost 25 years. You take him out when he's throwing so good, striking out 9 batters. And I'm not talking about striking out the Miami Marlins, striking out the Arizona Diamondbacks or the Cincinnati Reds, who they are playing today in Cincinnati. I'm talking about the New York Yankees. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's go ahead and get to some better news before I break this table. Let's go ahead and get to the Los Angeles Sparks, who have been playing amazing ever since getting their full roster back together. And, you know, the Sparks faced 2 games against the Las Vegas Aces, one in Los Angeles, one in Vegas. Both games, one game Nneka Ogwumike did not play, the other one Chiney Ogwumike did not play, and certain other players did not play in both of those games. But the other 3 games that they did have every single player available, guess what? They're undefeated, 3-0, 2 against Phoenix and 1 against Seattle, which took place on Saturday night here at Crypto.com Arena. And, you know, we brought you amazing coverage. And, of course, every single latest coverage that you want to see about the LA Sparks, make sure you follow us here at Infinity Studios and subscribe, because we're giving you all of the latest coverage, everything from the interviews, press conferences about the Sparks, and especially everything with head coach Coach Miller. He's been terrific. He's been making the right calls. And like I said, I'm talking about the calls. I'm talking about those big time calls that you got to make. And that's what Curt Miller has been doing, making the right calls. And of course, also follow us on our new Instagram at LA Sparks Weekly. You'll get everything Sparks right there. All right. So don't let me tell you again, because we need everyone to go ahead and check us out there. And talking about the Sparks moving forward tonight, they got another big game. Now they're playing the Seattle Storm in Seattle. So let's talk about one player who really surprised the hell out of me on Saturday night. Of course, the only player, Jewel Lloyd, who ended up scoring 37 points and still got defeated by the LA Sparks. But 37 points, it's not easy in the WNBA. It's not easy, especially when you're playing a good defense like the LA Sparks. And it just seemed like Lloyd was able to get off the ball, and it just seemed like one of those nights that a shooter just looks at the basket and it looks like the ocean. She was being guarded pretty good at times, and she was just nailing them down. And a lot of those 3-pointers came down in the 4th quarter and late crucial time. And it was an amazing performance by her end. And, of course, she is one of the top players right now in the WNBA. And the Sparks have another tough matchup tonight, facing her again. What can they do to hold her up? Yeah, they're maybe going to go ahead and set the defense around her, make sure that she does not go off again, because the Seattle Storm right now are 0-4. They're 0-4. They're still winless in this early in the season. Yeah, they lost Breanna Stewart last year. Breanna Stewart, one of the best players in the WNBA, arguably the MVP for them. And she walked away. She went to the New York Liberty. And Bert Sue as well. She ended up leaving last year, retiring. So Seattle just kind of got deflated by talent last year. So right now they're possibly looking to trying to get their first win tonight in Seattle, which I will maybe expect a huge crowd and to be really loud and electric out there. Because that's the same way that the Minnesota Lynx are another team who are winless right now. They're 0-5. And Minnesota the other day were facing the Las Vegas Aces, one of the, arguably the best team in the NBA right now. And they were battling with the Aces in Minnesota. It came down to the wire, and I believe Vegas won by 2. So when a team is still winless early in the season and they're at home, they're gonna put up a fight. And that's what I expect from the Seattle Storm tonight. Of course, you can catch that game 7 o'clock Pacific time on CBS Sports Network. And, of course, go ahead and follow us, like I mentioned, here on Infinity Studios. Follow me at Fredo Cervantes. I'm over here throwing things around. But, hey, make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And just subscribe here right now, guys, before the show ends. Subscribe right now. Let's go. See you guys next Tuesday.